Stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adoption of tonight's agenda. I would need a motion and a second, but are there any additions or deletions to that?
I make a motion that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
Is there a second? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Approval of October 2nd, 2023 and October 23rd, 2023 minutes.
Mr. Mayor, I did most have down Mr. Hyde's Miss Hyde. I'm surprised I found that. But on the back, it said the motion made for, it doesn't say adjournment.
Doesn't say adjournment.
No,
Okay.
Which one are you on?
the first one, October 2nd. Other than that, I make a motion to approve with the corrections.
Second.
Is there a second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any? That motion does carry. Public comment. Citizens may speak on items not listed on the printed agenda. Please state your name and address and observe the 3-minute time limit. Do we have anyone sign up?
I did not.
Okay. Presentation of 2023 Harvest Queens and Community Service Project, Parks and Recreation Board. Becky, would you like to speak on that?
I'd like to say thank y'all for inviting us to introduce these boys and girls that did such hard work for us. Collectively, they raised $3,785 and 253 toys. And they're also getting ready to start doing some community service projects, which we have lined up in the next couple of weeks, actually. They're kind of getting a head start on that right now. So I'm just gonna let them come up here and introduce themselves. They said they would like to do that, and so if y'all wanna come on up and line up. Come on up. Don't get shy. Up here. We'll start at this end down here, and you can tell who they are.
This is Colton Mullins, and he's Kenny.
My name is Emily Gobble, and I'm the Denton Harvest Ambassador.
Hi, I'm Olivia Mazzoni, and I am a Harvest Miss Team.
I'm Mia Gross Olson, and I'm Young Miss Denton Harvest Queen.
This is Brooklyn Gibson, and she's the cutest pumpkin on the vine.
My name is Adeline Driscoll, and I was part of the Lewis Harvest Pageant.
Very good.
And they collected a lot of money.
They did
I think
great.
we had 15 contestants in all. That's the lowest that we've had in 5 years, so. But they still collected a lot of money, so we're really pleased with that. And Project Santa is really happy about it too, so. Yes. And if y'all would like to tell them who y'all are, that might would help.
Sure, I'm Larry Ward, I'm the mayor here in town. But you,
And then we have our commissioners, and we'll start with you and go around the table.
He's a little.
I'm Commissioner Scott Morris, Commissioner Dave Askew.
And then that was Mayor that just introduced
Yeah.
himself. This is Julie.
And we're missing one of our commissioners.
Yes.
Dana Grubb is out tonight.
let me do something.
Somebody get some pictures. Can you get some pictures? Yeah. Turn my phone off because they're gonna show up the same as.
Becky, you might tell, how do they raise money? How do they?
They collect good luck seeds, and it's kind of like $1 a vote each contestant raises. And, our ambassador, she raised $857, I think it was. Does that sound right? $757, and you had some toys that she raised. But they just asked friends and family to donate kind of to them, and the rest is history. They came up, and I was thinking that we'd probably have low numbers this year with the money part of it, but I was shocked and very pleased with the $3,700. And there's some still collecting. I think a couple of them still have. And there's several that's not here tonight. One of them was in a bus accident this afternoon, so she's at the hospital actually right now. So I think we had 2 more that was supposed to have been here tonight. But,
Would you like to get a picture with all the
yes,
commissioners?
please.
Let's get a picture now.
Angel's gonna take a picture for us.
Y'all just, let them get in place, and y'all just get in front of them, it'd be great.
Yeah, y'all can cover us up.
Not their face.
Do you want me to be on the side?
You're good right there.
You're
That's
right
perfect.
there.
Okay, all right, everybody ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you.
Thank you, girls.
Thank y'all for coming.
Boys.
Oh, we were waiting.
Thank y'all.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. 2023 Christmas parade at Parks and Rec.
I knew exactly what.
Yeah.
I figured it was
Yeah.
like some kind of.
Yeah, that's usually.
If you're ready to do the Christmas parade.
Me again. See, me again. Okay. Did we have the map? I don't have a copy of the map. That's, okay. So, on behalf of the Parks and Rec, we know that we already have our parade route laid out. However, we was wanting to request, since we're doing the carriage ride and the train ride again this year, that I think the parade route is blocked off from 11:45 until the parade is over, correct? Is that what I'm seeing there? Okay, so what we're requesting is that maybe we could shut off the roads at Park Place and come down, yes, this right here. Miss Elizabeth has this. I thought I was doing good, but I'm not. Okay. So you can get a better picture of what I'm talking about. We're going to be having vendors that morning on Saturday, and also Santa will be in the park. We'll have some activities going on in the park that morning. So we know that we can't close the whole parade route off, but we're requesting that we close it off from like Park Place, come down to the stoplight, close it off where the red marks are at, and then down past Pickett's at Railroad Street, and the train route can be around that yellow area, and it will stop in the parking lot of the SunTrust building, and that's where they'll unload, and then he can pull back up to the up here to load the kids or whoever's going to be riding. And I think that'll also cut back on some of the traffic being parked on the side of the roads once the parade starts. There was a concern last year that people were trying to leave during the parade and they were going through the barriers. And so we think that might cut back on a little bit of that if we can have that area closed off that morning.
And you said what time, Becky?
Probably close it off around 9:30 because the vendors will be set up and it starts at 10. So if we could close it off from 9:30 until 11:45, and then we'll open it up to the regular parade route. And that way it doesn't block up the village parking lot. And we can also have somebody standing there at the SunTrust area to maybe let the train back out onto the street. I just feel like it'd be safer if we do that.
What about after the parade?
After the parade, it'll open back up, probably about 2:00. I'm saying at 11:45, we'll move these barriers out from the Park Place and at this stoplight here and move them to where they're originally supposed to be.
But close it back when the parade comes through, is that what you're saying? I'm just trying to figure it out.
I would think that would probably be best until the area is not as congested. Because last year we had kids darting out into the road and there was cars coming through there. Nobody was stopping, they just wanted to do their own thing, and they were moving the barriers actually last year. That was a big concern. I witnessed a little boy jump out in front of a truck to get candy off the street, which this year we're not allowing candy to be thrown. They'd have to hand it out this year in baggies, so we just thought instead of waiting until 11:45 to close it off, and there again, there'll be no traffic parked on each side of the road, and maybe 11:45, some of the village crowd will be cleared out. But they'll have to have the understanding that after 11:45, they can't be moving through the parade route. Because last year, they were coming out of the parking lot of the village and coming down toward Salisbury Street. And the parade was not near over. It was probably about half over. We still had several coming through.
Didn't they used to close the village parking lot like at 11 or something?
Well, I believe the closure through the state is from 11:45. So that's what I'm thinking. I mean, I'm thinking that that's too late to wait. The parade starts at 12, and then if you got people that go over to the old Classic and park there, we always have people park there, but we don't need people on the side of the street like in front of the village or in front of the post office. We don't need that. Because they think once they get tired of sitting there watching it, hey, we can just go now.
Yeah.
Or if they get a lull in there. So I just told a couple of them last year, I said, you're just going to have to wait and say Merry Christmas. Now you're in our Christmas parade.
Do you think you need an extra barrier too at where you've got it at Park Place? Leave it there and then put the other one to maybe deter people from coming out of Park Place parking lot, turning left, make them turn right?
Yes. I
And do
believe,
two?
I was trying to be considerate of the village. I don't know how they would feel about us closing it off all morning. Because they are really busy on.
Well, you
Right.
leave it open like you've got it, but closer to the parade, even leave that one barrier there till the parade starts.
Yeah.
So they don't.
Yeah, that's what I mean, whenever the parade starts, we could open it, open that part back up until, and then move it back once the parade's over with.
Would it be possible to maybe make some signage there at the village that says, that after 11:30 or after 11:45, vehicles must stay in place for the entirety of the parade, so they know going in.
Yes.
If I park here, then I'm here until the parade's over.
There and also at the old Classic, I would say that that's an area where they start pulling out and they turn left, come down to this stoplight on Salisbury. If we could get them to where they're not turning left once the parade's over, they'll go out the other direction. And I know it's hard, it's a lot of signs that will need to be put up, but I think we need ones at the barriers that says that it's illegal to move these barriers once they're put there. Because it's my understanding that it is illegal to do that, if I'm correct in saying that.
Chief James?
Yes, they should not be moving the barriers.
Yeah, they were moving them, they were taking them
Safe.
and moving them. Because when we asked people, how did you get through there, was such and such moved the barrier so we could get through, and I'm like, that shouldn't be done.
We've also, on the application this year, we pushed everything to an online registration for those who were doing. I know that the fire department handles all the parade entries, but just making sure that they know what our rules are. We also attached a copy of the map of the parade, and we've indicated that those feeder roads would be closed as well. We're just trying to look for more safety. Last year, it was very scary to think that there could potentially be someone run over with those that finish off on South Main Street and then coming back into Salisbury and North Main while the parade was still going on. So we are looking for volunteers to help with that since.
Yes, because we have like 15 barriers, correct, that we need to close.
Chief, y'all see any problems?
Take a lot of manpower, but we'll make it out.
Manpower to secure the roads.
Could we put something on social media, just asking for some volunteers to help with the safety for the day of the parade?
Well, I think we have to look at the liability of the town too. If they're already part of our volunteer boards, it's, they're covering that, but I don't know, we'll have to look into that.
We potentially could extend some, but we just need to see if you think you've got muster enough or if we need to come up with something else.
Normally on, events, our fire department, our volunteers will be a part of that if they're in the parade. So, and police department as well, we have. So, I'll have to look into it and see what options there are.
How do bigger towns handle that?
They close it down, period. They don't ask questions. It's closed at 9 a.m. and it's open back an hour following the end of the parade. There's not an in-between time that it's open.
And there's big barricades there and you can't get through.
Can we get big barricades?
We've thought about vehicles that can park across the road. That's one way to do it. So is the board okay with us using this pattern for the carriage rides and this Cook family train that came last year, but securing this route for them to use that morning?
I guess the only business it affects is Pickett's and Heather's, basically.
Yes.
And a little bit of the post office, but we'll let the postmaster know, and they know to work around when their deliveries are. They don't
count their
deliver.
captive audience, so they don't have to worry about customers.
Yeah, they don't deliver out mail or have open for public on Saturday, but they do get their big trucks in on Saturday, so.
Yeah, we have to let it in, right?
Yeah, and that's the one thing that we'll watch for.
I think that it would be nice, I think it's an excellent idea to make that the path, because that makes logical sense. But I think it would be nice to approach like boutique bargains and Pickett's and just tell them what you want to do and why we're doing it. It's it's not, because a lot of their traffic those days I think would be walk-in traffic anyway, not people pulling parking there. I think that people would be walking downtown, and that would just be part of their walk. Do we need a motion on this or
No,
blessing?
I don't think so. You want to tell us a little bit about what's going on other than the parade route?
We will have that morning, we'll have Santa in the park, hot chocolate and cookies, I believe is what they, Susan and Dina's actually have taken the lead on the parade. And they have all that information with them, but as far as I know, it's gonna be, I'm thinking the recital's gonna be again that day with Gay Shelton. And then prior, the night before, we'll have our love light ceremony and our lighting of the tree. And we have a couple of churches that are coming to do Christmas carols and things like that. But we will be having vendors on Saturday morning set up in the park and over at the farmer's market. So I think right now we've got several, maybe about 7 already. I'm not sure on the numbers on that, but we're still telling people about it and seeing a lot of interest in it because it is free for them to set up that day and sell. So,
Great.
And then the train ride, of course, and the carriage ride, we did get that back this year. It's a different company that's doing it. She's a lady, and I'm not sure where she's from, but she's coming Friday and Saturday. She'll be pulling Santa in the parade.
That's cool.
And we've already got Santa locked in, and we're ready.
And Mayor, if we are gonna close the street, we will need a motion for that.
Okay. Someone like to make a motion? Second.
I make a motion that we close the street from 9:30 until 2 for the route for the carriage ride and the train that are associated with the Christmas activities on December the 2nd.
Second.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Great.
So is that something I'll need to speak with these two parties about? Or you're gonna talk to them? Okay. All right. Yeah, thank y'all.
Becky, thank you for your work on these.
I'll do those.
Town Hall renovation proposal from Fuller Architecture. John Floyd.
Hello, it's good to be back with y'all. So I prepared at Angel's request a proposal to carry the design work that we've done through, all the way through construction administration. And I believe you have the proposal. We divided it into design development, construction documents, bidding, and construction administration. So those are 4 primary phases. We've already done the schematic design phase. So this would be comprehensive. It includes all the engineering and our services to run the project all the way through to completion of the construction. Would you like me to delineate a little bit more what each phase is, or do you feel comfortable with that, or?
Go through it.
Okay. So as I said, we have the schematic design already completed, which shows what we're planning to do and what the look of the outside of the building is. Design development, the first phase would be to determine the materials that are used, any kind of structure that we're doing, how the building is going to be built, what kind of mechanical systems and how those are done. So it's basically taking the schematic design and developing it further. Construction document phase is the next phase. That's where the bulk of the work is. And it's almost seamless between design development and construction documents, especially on a project of this size. So construction documents is preparing all the detailed drawings and specifications for the project to be able to then bid the project out competitively. So that's where all the detailing and such is done. That's why it's kind of the bulk of our work. At the time the construction documents are finalized, we will then be taking it into bidding. And let me back up a little bit. At this point, we haven't put any dollars to how much the construction cost would be, other than just some kind of top level kind of conversations that Angel and I've had. But moving into the design development and the construction documents, we would do some more refined cost estimating, but it's just still going to be high level kind of cost estimating, but trying to determine probably within 10% what the cost of the project would be. And then moving into the bidding phase, we would help the town to advertise and follow state statutes as far as bidding practices. It would have to be advertised for such amount of time. Then all of the bidders would be falling under our direction on how to get a hold of the documents. And whenever there's questions, they would come to us. We would then distribute addendum during the bidding process. The bidding process usually is about 4 weeks. And then once that time period comes, the bids will be received here, most likely at the town hall, as a public bid opening. And the low bidder, as long as everything is correct with their bids, would be the selected general contractor, as long as the town can afford the bid, whatever it comes out to be. And then we would move into the construction administration phase, and our job during that is to help to oversee the project, to come visit the site on a periodic basis to make sure that the work being done is what they're saying is being done, to certify the pay applications, to when once a month they would submit a pay application for the amount of work they've done. We would certify that pay application after we visited the site, and just make sure that y'all are not paying for something that hasn't been done, and making sure the quality of the work meets the construction documents. We would attend meetings with the owner and the contractor once a month at least, to discuss the project and the progress. Anytime the contractor or subcontractors have any questions, we would be coordinating and answering those questions and providing additional detailed drawings if necessary, or anything that's necessary to make their work go smoothly. So that is kind of an overview of those services. Do y'all have any questions from that?
John, I thought we was gonna have maybe some estimates of cost on the whole project.
We can do that right off the bat. Like I say, Angel and I have talked a little bit about it, but I haven't done a thorough study. So we can do an initial kind of schematic design budget before we move into design development, and let you know where we're standing with the cost at that point. When I was analyzing the fees and looking at what the scope of the work would be, I did talk with Angel about, just potential dollars, but it was very rough and vague. Just to make sure that what I was thinking for the scope of the work was what the town might be thinking. But we can do that right off the bat, come up with a cost estimate along with the schematic design, and then present that.
Can you have it? Go ahead.
I would feel a lot more comfortable having something to go on, because otherwise we're looking at 62% of the amount spent out before we ever have hard numbers.
Yeah, I mean, you would get the numbers before that anyhow, but I think it's a good idea to go ahead and do a cost estimate right off the bat.
Could we have it by our next meeting?
When is that?
Be the first Monday night in December.
I think we could. Yes.
December the 4th.
Right.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to table it December 4th, we can get those, some kind of cost estimates.
Second.
Any further discussion on this? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank y'all. I will have that to you on the 4th.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Update from LaBella Associates. Heather. Heather, glad to have you here tonight.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Sure.
I'm Heather Miller. I'm a senior civil engineer with LaBella Associates out of Charlotte. I apologize if it looks like I'm going to read through my script. I like to talk. I'm told I'm a little bit wordy, and so I want to make sure I give you a concise rundown of the projects we are working on for you, along with the status and where we are with those projects. So we are the engineers who were chosen to provide professional engineering services to assist Denton in developing initially a preliminary engineering report for all the projects you were looking at, to give you some sort of cost and scope of those projects, and the subsequent engineering design and bid package services and construction inspection services for projects that are to be funded through the ARPA and NC infrastructure grant funds. And so again, I'm here tonight to give a brief overview or update of those projects. So the first ARPA funded project we have been engaged to complete is the Town of Denton Waterline Replacements Project. So this project involves a replacement of existing 2-inch diameter galvanized water lines with new 6-inch diameter ductile iron water lines, and also transferring the water services from those 2-inch water lines to the new 6-inch water lines. And so this will provide residents in these project areas that were chosen with better water quality, increased water pressure, and fire protection. So this project has been designed and submitted to the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality's Division of Water Infrastructure, or as I'm going to refer to it now because it's a really long title, DWI, for their review. So the list of streets that were initially developed and given to us where water lines were needed to be replaced was provided initially by the interim town manager. However, during the design of the project with the streets that were chosen, a closer look at those streets was conducted involving the new town manager and various public works employees, and it was determined that there were a couple of streets where water lines that had been proposed to be replaced had already been replaced. And they were included in the funding application, so DWI was expecting to see them. So removal of these streets and therefore the water line replacements resulted in a project that was approximately $400,000 less than the funds that were allocated to this project. So in order to maximize the funding available for the project, we have requested from DWI the ability to add additional streets to the project in order to be able to use up all the funds in the entirety for, so we're able to replace as many water lines as possible. DWI is agreeable to that request, and so we are currently determining the costs associated with adding a few additional streets for the design and construction that will total the approximately the $400,000. And so once those streets have been determined, survey and design will occur prior to submission of these new streets to DWI for their review and approval. The next ARPA-funded project is the Denton Wastewater Treatment Plant bar screen and screw conveyor replacement project. So this project involves the replacement of the existing bar screen and screw conveyor used for grit removal at the wastewater treatment plant. We're going to be replacing that obviously with a new bar screen and screw conveyor. We are currently in the design process for that, which we will have final drawings submitted to DWI for their review and approval by December 1st, 2023, so in just less than a month. The next ARPA-funded project is the Denton Wastewater Treatment Plant Modification Study. So the Denton Wastewater Treatment Plant contains 2 oxidation ditches. However, one of those 2 oxidation ditches is unable to be used by the town. So to determine the best modification to be made at the wastewater treatment plant, in order to be able to utilize both of the oxidation ditches, a study of the wastewater treatment plant will be conducted. This study will include a hydraulic study of the entire plant and a determination of feasible alternatives of piping and valve corrections to allow for usage of both oxidation ditches. So the hydraulic study will not only look at the current hydraulics and how the plant works, but also will look at the effects of the feasible alternatives that those alternatives will have on the hydraulics, and also looking at how these alternatives will affect the efficiency with both of those oxidation ditches in use. And so once we complete the design of the bar screen and screw conveyor replacement project, we will be moving on to this project. The final ARPA-funded project is the Town of Denton Identification and Repair of Infiltration and Inflow, or I&I, into the Wastewater Collection System project. So the Town of Denton's wastewater collection system experiences I&I. It has been documented with a closed circuit TV or CCTV project, and a report was completed in November of 2020. So using the November 2020 CCTV report, pipe cleaning, smoke testing, point repairs, and as needed rehabilitation of the pipe will be performed. The report was just done, nothing was done following the report. So we were going to take some of that information and with these funds, do what is needed based upon that report. However, the November 2020 project and report did not examine the entire sanitary sewer system, and so this new project will CCTV the sanitary sewer lines that could not be completed during the November 2020 CCTV due to excessive water in the pipe, debris in the pipe, breaks within the pipe that didn't allow the camera to go all the way through. So we're going to complete those pipes with this project along with the rest of the entire sanitary sewer system. So the report written following the CCTV will help determine what additional sanitary sewer lines need to be cleaned, smoke tested, where point repairs need to be made, and or pipe rehabilitation will be needed. So the ultimate goal of this project is to collect information on the I&I for the entire sanitary sewer system, so we can take a look at it as a whole and then work to fix all those problems. This project will also begin once we are complete with the design of the bar screen and screw conveyor replacement project. We'll do it simultaneously with the wastewater treatment plant modification study. I love how I have notes and I'm still not going to buy them. LaBella also assisted the town in obtaining a stormwater planning grant from DWI, and the Piedmont Triad Regional Council worked with the town in order to identify and address the stormwater project problems that are plaguing the town. So in 2021 and 2022, a detailed inventory of the town's stormwater drainage system was completed. So the primary goal of the inventory was to establish an online database of all stormwater infrastructure for the town, including all drains, pipes, and outfalls, evaluate any potential maintenance needs, and identify additional opportunities to reduce stormwater flows. So the results of this inventory will help the town more easily manage and maintain existing stormwater infrastructure and to better inform future stormwater management decisions, as well as help identify potential sources of stormwater inflow and infiltration. So the proposed stormwater planning grant study involves a complete review of the problems that have been identified in the July 2022 Town of Denton Stormwater Inventory Report, which was, again, prepared by the Piedmont Triad Regional Council. So in that report, it identified 6 priority project areas which see the most significant stormwater issues. So of these top 6 priority project areas, the 3 most urgent areas are going to be focused on. We will complete alternatives analysis for each to determine the most feasible solution to the stormwater issues in the area. And then the number 1 area of concern, which has been identified as Clark Acres, we will go ahead and complete engineering plans. So when the time comes and funds are available, the plans will be ready to go to construction. And then finally, a 5-year capital improvement plan for stormwater projects will be developed, which will include all 6 of the top priority ranked areas with their design and construction costs, and all of the other projects and areas that have been identified in the report in order of priority. So it will give kind of a base map of where you should start repairing stormwater issues. So this project will also begin upon completion of the wastewater treatment plant modification study. So those are all the projects that we have that are going on with the ARPA funded projects. We have also been asked to provide a proposal for the development of a water model for the water distribution system. As I know, I'm sure you're all aware, there are areas within the town where its water distribution has known and possibly unknown low pressure. However, there is no way currently to determine the extent of these low pressure areas or identify solutions to solve the low pressures in these areas. The town also does not have a master distribution map that shows all the water lines, hydrants, water tanks, booster pump stations, all in one place, all in one map. Easily accessible. So LaBella proposes to input the town's water distribution into a water model and run the model. Following each run of the model as needed, LaBella will make site visits for the purpose of model calibration to make sure what we see in the model makes sense in the field. Upon completion of the calibration of the water model, LaBella will review the model, identify the areas of lowest pressure, and provide solutions with cost estimates to alleviate the low pressure in those areas in a technical memorandum. LaBella will also provide the town with a complete map of the water distribution system. And so to begin the process, LaBella, we have been given several blueprints showing the existing water lines. We have done our best to digitize those drawings, some of which have dates of 1935 on them. And so we were unable to scan some of them because we did not want to destroy them anymore. The last 3 we tried to do today, the machine wanted to eat it, and we said we don't need those digitized. Thank you. So the water lines that we have been able to digitize will be added on to the water map that we currently have. And then for all water lines not shown on the map, the town will need to provide us with information as to the location, size, material, age of those pipes. And we will also need to have information of water storage tanks, raw water intake, where the treatment plant is, booster pump stations, hydrants, valves, along with relevant information about each asset. And so the development of the water model can't begin until we have all that information, because with a water model, the more information we have up front, the easier it's going to be calibrated afterwards, taking up less time and money. So thank you for your time. I hope that was
That was an excellent explanation. Do we have that concise of information? I mean, I see information that we have in memos like from 22 and professional services agreement, but do we have like it written out? And am I missing it where we have it written out that goes through each one of the things that you're doing?
No, I wrote this today. I would be happy to. I found some edits that I need to make. I wrote some words incorrectly. I would be happy to make those edits and send those over to Angel to provide that for you.
Very helpful.
Mm-hmm. And I did include on here like the cost of each project, what's estimated for construction, and what is set aside for engineering. So I do have those numbers also.
Okay.
I do have them on here.
Are these updated costs of the memo says 2022?
So what they're speaking about, and I was going to mention this after she got through with her details, but the 2022 memo from interim manager Kelly Krager is where he presented the professional agreement for these ARPA fund projects. However, they were not presented to you for approval. So the two projects that have for the bar screen and also the water line replacement would need to be approved based on the fact that we have really already approved them. We just have to have a signed contract that they're taking care of those two projects. And then once the DINA and the stormwater comes before us, we'll approve those as they come. This was just not signed at the time that it was originally presented for them to handle this project.
I was looking, like Commissioner Morris, I was looking at the 2022 information you gave us and comparing it to the attachment A that we have in the agreement. Just curious, which of the streets that were originally listed in 2022 are now repaired and taken care of?
So we have not had any repaired yet. That is what we're replacing now. The ones that are in attachment A were presented. However, we
I knew that was going to be an answer.
I
I thought about it, and
I didn't print it. But we've asked to go back and add, because we have that $400,000 to capture without sending it back. I spoke with Mr. High, and he said to look at First Street between Bingham and Hewlin, because that line has been repaired and replaced and many times, and it should be a good replacement there.
Right.
Also, the street, I believe it was Jones to Finch Avenue and Finch to Anderson is the other one that we're looking at, see if we can plug those in to capture that $400,000 that's still available.
Yeah, and I have cost estimates for each street that was initially given to us. And so I can add the ones that may not have initially been on that list and do a very rough cost estimate for that. And then the goal is to find which streets can we add to make sure we get up to that $400,000 as close as we possibly can.
Yeah, we don't want to give it back.
Correct.
So in the original, we had like 11,050 linear feet, and what we have in attachment is 3525. And so part of that is going to come from First, Bingham to Hewlin, Jones to Finch, Finch to Anderson. That's going to be part of that as well.
And we had to also look around where we're paving. Like if we're paving within the next 5 years as part of the plan through trans systems, we didn't want to have that on a repair line later on.
Okay.
So if it was this year, we actually moved around some of the paving off of that list of the that was presented to Trans on account of these lines being repaired.
Okay.
So he went around and made sure that Broad Street, Spring, and all that, where we're paving, we're not cutting. So,
Okay.
So
I'm just
First
trying to
Street,
make sense of it.
yeah,
First Street, the water line runs under the road, is that correct?
yes,
So we're gonna have to dig the road up there.
it will be. Michael,
And
which, you know,
pave the
there's the
street.
intersection of First and Bingham has been dug up many times.
I remember Michael told me that a long time ago.
And the goal is if we're able to, we would like to make sure the water line is not in the road, or at least as far away as we can get it, as close to the right of way, so that if there is repairs, you don't have to dig up a road for those repairs.
And what kind of time frame are we on? Because we've been dealing with this, seems like a long time.
Yeah, so as soon as we can, my goal for this week is to get those costs associated with those new streets. And once we can get those costs, we'll send it into DWI for approval, saying these are the streets we want to add. This is what the cost is going to be. And then we have to get surveying and design going. So I would imagine, depending upon the ability or the availability of our surveyor to get in, I would say we could probably have the drawings into the state by the end of January. And then
So we bid it by spring. We'll be digging by spring.
I would say probably, hopefully by summer. While we have our time frame, DWI also has their time frame for review, and it has been my experience, if they give themselves 4 months to review something, they will take 4 months to review something. So I can't comment on how quickly DWI is going to do their review. We will do our best to do everything we can as quickly as we can.
And the ARPA funds have a time limit on, correct?
All funds have to be expended and reimbursements requested by December 31st, 2026.
Okay. And you got down 3 million, but we only got 2 million. Is that right? The estimates is 3,300,000,
Yeah,
and we got 2 million coming from ARPA funds.
I believe the old,
Our infrastructure, 2 million.
I thought the initial was 3.
I was thinking so too. I'll have to go back and verify that, Commissioner Morris.
I'm just gonna look here.
I'll go back and verify that and make sure that's funds, because whatever we receive is what we started with early last year and started with the projects. But I'll have to go back and pull that information, because it's not on the top of my brain at this moment.
Okay, I was just gonna,
Yeah.
what ahead in front of us?
Yeah, no, the 4 projects that I talked about, we priced those out in order to meet whatever we were given, whatever was given. So there was a set cost for the study, a set cost for I&I, all that kind of stuff. And so we kind of added on water lines to be able to get up to that maximum amount. So we are definitely maximizing what we can with the funds that were given.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't ask this, but why did it take us this long to get to this point?
We
Is
initially,
it our fault, or is it?
no, it was initially, I was surprised on how difficult it was to get a surveyor up here to do surveying without a surveyor costing more than my engineering fee for the project. And so it took a lot of time in order to find a reasonable surveyor, which definitely cut into some of the time. The drawings, when we initially did them, we did them in 3 weeks to get them to the state. So the engineering portion went very quickly. It was, yes, so now we do have a surveyor. We also now have surveying in-house that we can send up here.
Mike, you and Troy, look over these. You got them? Okay.
Anything else?
The water pressure study, when can we get started on that?
As soon as I make sure I have all the information. I have to look on the map that I currently have, some of the scan drawings we have, and then I'll have to get with Michael to find out what streets, what water lines are we missing on there in order to be able to get it into the model.
That's kind of the hottest thing going right now.
So we could definitely get, once I get all that information and make sure I have all that information, we can start right away.
Okay.
Once these agreements are signed, are we ready to sign the water line replacement project, or do we need to wait until those additional streets are added?
Well, we have already completed the work for what is in that document. Obviously, there will be additional costs with surveying, with design of those streets. And so I can provide those costs into an amendment, if that would be all right, to be added onto this contract.
If we signed this contract, could this be like phase 1 and then adding those streets via phase 2, where we could get started on phase 1?
Yes, well, again, phase 1 is already all designed. It's complete. It's into the state for their review. And phase 2 would be those additional streets.
So the next step on this is that it's bid it out?
We have to get approval from the state. And they're going to want to see the entire project, which includes the new streets for one project as one project. And so once we get that into the state and get their approval, then yes, we would go to bid.
On the bar screen and screw conveyor, is that good to go? What are we like on it?
No, we are working on it right now currently.
Okay. Because you're still picking it up by hand, aren't you, Troy?
Yes, sir.
We are working on it right now. It has a
How
due
soon
date.
can that be done?
That has a due date that has to be to the state by December 1st.
And then they have to put it, and then we have to put it out for bids again?
Yes.
How long does that process take, like putting it out for bids and all that? And how long will the state have it before they sign off on it?
So the state gives themselves 3 months to review the drawings. I'm hoping, because this is a smaller project, it's a simple water line project, that they could be quicker on that. I don't know about that. But once we get approval from the state and we go out to bids and we receive those bids, then we need to submit all those bids to the state for another round of approval, which January, September, October, November, December, January. So then they give 4 months for the bidding process and the submittal of those bids. However, for bids, we'd have to have the project out on the streets for bids for 4 weeks before we could take those bids, and then we could immediately turn around all those bids and send it in to the state. We would not take those 4 months to get bids and all of that sort of things.
It's basically we're at the mercy of the state.
Correct.
Any of this.
Unfortunately, yes. As with all funds you get from the state.
The beast.
Mm-hmm.
Well, except for, we authorized it in September 22, and the bar screen should have been pretty simple, and we still don't have it. It's a year later.
We did not get actual approval from the state for the usage of these funds until the end of August
August.
of this year.
We were granted the funds, but we didn't get them.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we didn't get approval letters for that. We did get approval letters. Yeah, we did not get approval letters until August
And we
of 2023.
just didn't get it.
Mm-hmm. So for this next round of funds from the state, which I know you received additional funds, we're waiting for those to actually be sent out to everybody. And then there's going to be the what projects do you want? Then we'll have to send those in, fill out the application, send those in. The state will review them, And it took I will admit, it took the state a very long time from when we submitted those applications to when we got those approval letters.
I've been reading in one of the publications that I get about people and how they've used their ARPA funds and everything. I mean, and that's been going on for 2 years. Why were they able to get it out of the gate and get it executed and done so quickly? And where did we?
They probably had boot ready.
It's possible they had,
Which we don't.
yeah, projects ready to go. I know all our clients who received funds, some of them still don't have approval letters to go with their projects. So I don't know how certain projects got the okay before others.
But you've seen some being executed as well, right?
Not for any of the clients we work with, which is, the Charlotte around this area.
Right.
We have not seen, we have not had any work done
Seems like
yet.
the one that I read about first were like more in the western part of the state.
Mm-hmm.
I was just curious.
Yeah, no,
Not trying to be a firing squad. I'm just trying to understand.
I wish I knew the magic to get any of my projects done quicker when dealing with the state, and I haven't found my magic yet.
Based on that timeline you were talking about, so December 1st, you've got to have it in.
Mm-hmm.
They have 3 months, and we're
Correct.
looking at March 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to have it out for 4 weeks before we can accept it, so really like 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then back to the state, and they give themselves 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just want to make sure I have that in my head.
So we're looking at
This time
worst
next year.
case scenario this time next year. That actually works.
summer, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would like to say end of the summer, but I'm always hopeful.
Any other questions? So the 2 agreements that are before you, we do need approval on those. Like I said, the work for the water line replacement project has already been completed. We do need to do the amendment to add the different lines that we are requesting the state to approve. And then the bar screen, screw conveyor replacement, would need to be approved by you guys as well.
And if you'll just approve it subject to the amendment to add the additional streets.
Do they need to be approved separately?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve Town Denton bar screen and screw conveyor replacement.
Second.
Any further discussion on this? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the professional services agreement contingent upon the addition of the additional streets for the water line replacements project.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you very much. You did a good job.
Thank you.
And you will get that to Angel?
Yes, I'll get it to her tomorrow.
Great, thank you.
Approved budget amendment fiscal year 23-24 Public Works for a 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 pickup truck.
Good evening. This is just the approval for the funds to be allocated for the purchase of the vehicle that you guys did approve for Public Works. It is replacing the vehicle that we lost due to an accident. We're replacing it with a 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 truck that will be put into service as our Public Works Director's truck, and his truck then put into service for a regular departmental truck. So that it is to approve the difference in what we receive from insurance to cover the cost of that truck.
Entertain a motion and a second to approve.
I make a motion to approve the budget amendment for the GMC's truck.
Second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Any disapproved? That motion carries. Approve updates for the office computers at the police department and budget amendment. This is for year 23-24, Angel Jenkins.
Okay, you guys have a quote from Zero Data Stress, who is the IT department that we use. Tavis Curry, who's local, if you guys may know him, lives just outside of town. And he had come down and met with Chief James about updating the computer systems at the office. We do have computers there that are county computers, that they're able to enter their reports and access information. But this is to actually update a computer at the reception desk, the officer's desk. The chief's laptop would be updated and put to the captain's office, and then replacing the chief's laptop with a new one. It also does include monitors and an upgrade on the services there. They're just in need. The computer that the officers are currently using is behind in probably 5 years maybe. They're not able to access programs quickly. It takes a couple hours sometimes to get through a process, so it is a needed update for them in order to do the job that's needed. It would not affect the computers that we have with the county. It's on a separate internet line, and it's completely different from the IT work that's done through the county. It is at the cost of $3,472.50, which would also need the budget amendment approved that's been presented to you. If you have any questions about the systems that you're looking at, it is a Dell computer, which is what we use here at Town Hall.
Chief, is this what you need?
Yes, I think so. I'm operating on an i3 and then the computer that police officers use, it may take 10 to 15 minutes to get it to even come up. So it's just, they're like me, they're old and worn out.
I'll make a motion, we approve the amendment budget for the new computers for the police department.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Memorandum of Understanding with North Carolina Department of Transportation Metropolitan Planning Organization. Angel Jenkins.
So we've received a copy of the new memorandum of understanding with the county, excuse me, not county, but MPO, which is Metropolitan Planning and Organization. And they're responsible for planning and carrying out the transportation needs for the county as well as towns that are located within our county. Mayor serves as a member of this board on the TAC board, and that stands for Transportation Advisory Committee. Each member of this board is a voting member, and so they do meet quarterly. Is that right?
Quarterly.
Meet quarterly in order to discuss the plans. They provide what every district with the NCDOT provides, or what their plans are for the coming years, looking at what the need is, what the concerns are. As you know, we submit lists every year of the streets in town that are DOT roads and what the priority street would be to have repairs done to those. But this is an understanding that we want to still participate, be a part of this program, and as you see the list of names, the cities that participate already is Archdale, High Point, Lexington, Thomasville, Trinity. It also has the counties of Davidson, Forsyth, Guilford, Randolph, and then the town of Denton, Jamestown, and Walberg. So it is a good organization. The mayor could explain a little bit more about some of the projects maybe that they've done over the past few years that's gonna benefit to everybody.
Well, they promised that Peacock will be paved next summer.
You have that in writing.
And they have asked me, I have asked several times about South Main, and I still can't get South Main paved.
It's good to have that voice out there. And
But they have promised me that we're gonna get the Peacock.
You know me, I'm stupid about numbers and stuff. These numbers don't add up to 23. I think they have a typo where it says, City of Thomasville has appointed by city manager, there's 2 there.
which part, what page are you
I'm on page 6. And I know that you didn't write this, it was by them, but it's talking about the technical coordinating committee, and that there's a total of 23. But it says City of Thomasville it says appointed by the city manager 1, appointed by the city manager 1. And if you add all those numbers up, I don't come up with 23, but that could just be me.
I will send that back to Andrew and let him know that there seems to be, now, Archdale is on page 5.
Right.
So I got 22 in looking at that.
And Thomasville should have formed 1, I think, they don't want to.
Right.
Everybody has something.
Everybody has the same amount.
So there's a 0 votes by a couple of them. So is it 21? Or is it? You see what I'm asking?
If you look at page 3, this gives a membership of the TAC board, and the TAC board consists of 16 members.
Right.
So that's the technical coordinating committee is different than that, so I'm not sure. I can ask for verification on that.
Okay.
I don't know.
It is what it is.
It should be, like you said, it should be one per city, and having Thomasville listed as 2.
And it could be just counting spaces.
Yeah.
And they
In
don't
their
have a
program,
Yeah.
it's not it's tally of digits, not a total. They didn't have the right formula in there.
Right.
Yeah, they may not have someone for those US, DOT for those 2
Okay.
divisions, but I'll verify that, make sure.
Yeah, I'm just weird.
Not
I know
a
I am.
problem, but it's not a problem, but, they are in need of this agreement back to them tomorrow, so we can approve the agreement and then I'll verify those
Okay,
numbers for you.
that's fine. I mean, it's
That's
a very
okay.
minute little thing. I just was,
No, that's fine, I appreciate you asking.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding for the MPO.
second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Town attorney update.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good afternoon.
My update will be reserved for our closed session later. So that's all I need to add, except encouraging everyone to go out and vote tomorrow. Absolutely.
I have a question for her. The animal ordinance.
Yes, well.
Oh, I just need to send it to you. I haven't proposed one, so I'll email that to you. I have an animal one and one other one as well. I'll send that to you guys for review, and then you can comment, and we can present it at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Town manager's report.
So printed copy of the report. Sorry about that. Just some quick updates. Semi Engineering did meet with Sam Walford in regards to the water line extension on Highway 109. And we're waiting on the easements to be completed. the sealed maps have been provided, and so he did get started on locating some, areas over on Noel, just to make sure of where he will be doing some of the work. I talked to, Bobby Kivett this afternoon, and he was, real pleased with the work that they've already got accomplished, so it's moving right along. We just have to get those easements done. He also, Mr. Kivett will be in town tomorrow, and he'll be looking at the valves down through town. He talked with Mr. High last week, and is going to start seeing if he can find out where possibly a valve could be closed. Public Works has been on several projects with the Water and Sewer Department. They've also started their leaf pickup and installing the Christmas lights. As you may or may not know, our lights and brackets and wiring were removed with the replacement of posts by the Duke Power. So they are working on getting those installed so we can have them back up for the day after Thanksgiving. So it's coming on quick. Our street festival, despite the rain, was a great event. The vendors, the bands, and the pageant contestants all had a really good time that day. I want to thank everybody who came out and all those who took a hand in making it a success. It takes a lot of work to do that event, so we're thankful for that. Monster Mash was well attended. Everyone had a great night. There was a bunch of kids, families came out in costume, family costumes. It was really neat to see all of them participating. Our second annual chili cook-off had 4 contestants, and Sam Grimes was our winner. He is a member of the Parks and Rec Board, but it was a blind contest, so he won fair and square, and he was bragging heavily afterwards. So he's probably going to be dressed like Gordon Ramsay next year, so instead of the Grinch. I think he was a little happy with that.
I did like the format last year better where everybody got to taste it.
Yeah, I know it was a little bit different. They decided to do it different this year for whatever reason, so we'll pass that along and see if everybody can do that. Chief James and I will be meeting tomorrow with Sheriff Simmons and County Manager Casey Smith, and that's to discuss an interlocal agreement for assistance from the Sheriff's Department. The paving contract is live. They did hold a pre-bid meeting Friday here at Town Hall, and so we should have those bids back in and be able to present to you guys for approval. And then the Jones Street Culvert Project, I spoke with Mr. Yates last week. He's hopeful to have that finished at the end of this week. I went ahead and put 2 weeks for you guys because I'm not sure what can happen. As we've known, things have come up, and so the next 2 weeks he should be completely finished with that. And then also with Zero Stress Data, who is doing the computers with the chief, he's looking at the possibility of our digital board packets and the communication that we've spoke about, being able to have a platform that's accessible to you guys. So we've got a couple different avenues that we're looking at and just seeing which one's going to be a better fit for everybody.
And Angela and I did experiment with a shared Google Doc this past month and update, working on that, and decided that we really thought we needed something a little bit more, and that's what led to that discussion and trying to mimic what some other towns and cities do, but in a cost-effective way.
You also have the fire department and our code enforcement reports available for you to review.
Is it possible on these code enforcement reports to, for our knowledge, have a notation as to what day they first go on to this report?
We can ask them.
Commissioner Morris and I were talking about that part of the meeting. It'd be nice to know, you know, have they just come on, or have they been on there for a year and a half, and you know, where are we with that?
All right, I'll just ask them to add that to their column when they pull it in. They have a spreadsheet that they pull it from.
That in Parks Acres, it's still not much better, if any.
Well, so that home has been under, it's been abated. We've abated it twice for mowing. We've abated it once for cleaning up
We're gonna
property.
abate the backyard, because it's never been mowed.
Yes, we've abated it
Twice.
twice. And
Let's use a high mower.
no, it has been abated twice.
Bush
And
hog.
it was recently done about 4 weeks ago. So the problem with this is it is an ongoing concern. They have the house, after being cleaned of junk piles is worse now than it was when we abated it. So we are looking at other measures to take on this property because they are not going to be compliant.
Madam Attorney, do we have?
Well, and that's when we have to get a little bit more serious and actually go in and, have there been any liens placed?
We have one lien that, when we first did the mowing abatement, the homeowner work has been paid towards paying that off, but they've since stopped, so we've got the figures together, and ACE is actually going to file the lien with the additional mowing and the nuisance abatement for the cleaning of the property.
The progression is if they continue to do this, you fine, you're leaning, you're going in and actually cleaning it up yourself. And then if they are still non-compliant, then you're basically foreclosing the liens if they can't pay them. And then the property's sold and someone else takes over and hopefully the nuisance stops.
So we're at the point of filing the liens, and then the next step would be to move forward with possible closure of the property or something along that line. Because there, like I said, we had the property cleaned, and then within a week to a week and a half, it was in worse condition than it was when we had it cleaned. You can't make people do what's right sometimes, so unfortunately, it'll have to be a further step taken on the town.
Okay, Commissioner comments and concerns?
I just have a couple of questions, if I may.
Sure.
In the minutes, talked about that SCADA was coming like the next day after our last meeting, that a representative from Law and Oakmont updating the system at the water plant. Where are we with that?
So they have come out, and they went through the whole system with Mr. Hyde regarding what their updates were going to be and installing that system. And there were a few things that was not listed. One of them being our clear wells. So given the updates for that information, they are now working to obtain the software agreement on that. But it had to be a revamp because he just was not given all the information in the beginning. That's what was needed. So Michael has updated him as to what needed to be done, went through step by step and what we hope to accomplish with that SCADA system.
Okay.
I should have you an update. He just emailed last week saying that he was still waiting on that software update, and I'll let you know when it's updated.
Okay. And you actually mentioned one thing that I was going to ask about the when you were talking about the working with the zero stress data, working on more communication. At the store, I've been working with an IT person also, and I've been looking at several things, really with the town in mind. But I know that there's certain legalities and stuff that have to be. That you're trying to do where we have like where we can have like a task board, so that we can keep up with everything and where we were and everything. I think
that's what
I'm very visual, so I hope that is what you're working towards.
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. That was all I had.
I assume we're gonna talk about personnel water plant from closed session.
We are. We can talk about it in open session. We don't have any. We have one person who is working towards, has been working through coming on board with being the ORC, but we are just not able to. We're not able to find anybody who's viable. I'm not saying that it's us. I'm not saying, Mr. Hyde will tell you it's Thomasville's paying $25 an hour. We can't compete with these other towns, and I know that sounds terrible to say that, but we can't. So
we're gonna have to though.
Okay, but then that means we're gonna have to raise water bills.
Well,
We're
if
gonna
we
have to raise
can't
property
produce
tax.
water, we've got to be able to produce water.
Yes, sir, I do understand that, but this is a new information to me prior to the meeting, that Thomasville's paying $25 an hour. So I need to have time to look at this, but we're not getting viable certified employees to apply at the water plant. They have to be certified a C. We have one gentleman who's there now, it's gonna be 6 months before he can work on his own. So if we're not hiring certified, just as in the police department, we have to have a certified person in there. We don't have the time to invest 6 months because our employees are stressed to the max. So our next step is to contact EnviroLink, and we are gonna have to pay them more, but we're gonna have to.
Gotta pay more than $25 an hour too.
Yes, we will, for a short amount of time, we will. But if we're gonna have to hire people who are not certified, then that's what we're gonna have to do. We'll have to hire EnviroLink until we have people certified and can have someone operating the plant. I mean, but that information, like I said, was given to me just prior to the meeting tonight. So it's new. I don't know if our attorney has any more information on what Thomasville's doing.
I haven't looked at that to see, but I mean, if that's something you want me to look at, I'll be happy to. But the question is what I'm hearing from you guys, that, you know, if you are gonna have to pay $25 an hour, are you willing to raise the water bills?
Well, it's not have to, it's, we have to. If we don't have anybody producing water at the water plant and we have, 4,000 people without water, conceivably, I mean, that's way far, but if we've got 2 part-time personnel and 1 full-time, right?
No, we have 2 full-time,
But
one who's not certified. And then we have 3 part-time. I think that's right. But it's not that and Michael will tell you that everyone else is having the same issues we are.
I'm not saying.
Same problems, water plant and the police department.
I'm not saying we're the only ones, I'm just saying somewhere.
It's probably time for a water rate study anyway.
We'll have one.
It's been, 4 years since we've had an increase? With the cost of all the chemicals and everything.
2021 was our last water rate increase, but we will have one, our water study be presented with this next budget year. Rural Water's already said that they'll do it for us, and so we'll start that in January, and we'll have it with the next budget process. So, but we are, like I said, we've exhausted everything that we can as far as trying to get people who are in place now because they are satisfied with where they're working. They're not looking to move. So it's difficult. The gentleman who was looking at coming on this board is ORC. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do that or not. He's not currently an A certified. He has to take his test, and it was postponed till February. So we're looking at possibility of working with him on a 6-month trial probationary period. But what if he doesn't pass it in 6 months? So that's your other problem.
We applied for a grant for that railroad crossing gate. Have you heard anything out of that?
No, I sent back in our approval that we wanted to apply for that, and they said that as soon as they got started on the schematics, they'd be able to have someone come down and look at it and do the engineering of it. They've reached back out to us, and they have not yet. So I think they have kind of canvassed the whole state, so I'm not sure where we fall in line with that.
Anything promising as far as police officers?
We have one gentleman that they're working on background checks right now, so we're hopeful that that'll be a viable candidate to come on. He's actually already been through his BLE training and served at a neighboring police department. So we're hopeful that that'll be a.
So how many officers would that bring us to?
I prefer not to say.
Okay.
Do what?
Just prefer not to say at this moment. We can talk about that in closed session.
Any other questions for concern? Not. We'll go into closed session.
Need a motion.
Can I ask for a 5-minute recess real quick? And then we'll do a motion.
Okay.